What is up, YouTube? It's Zombie back at it again, and we are about 2.5 weeks removed from the release of the new Zombies map, The Tomb. It kind of divided the community. There were a lot of people who liked it, and there's a lot of people who don't like it and hate on it, and I'm here to give y'all my opinion on it since it's had a little bit of time to marinate, and I feel like the honeymoon period for the new map is kind of blown over at this point, and I'm just going to give y'all my honest thoughts in the form of a pros and cons list. So let's start with the pros, the good things about this map, because I think there is plenty of good in this map. First off, the ice staff is very good. Now, I've said before that I would prefer if they would have came up with an original wonder weapon for this map. I always prefer an original creative idea over a recycled one. However, I can't deny that it is very cool to use the ice staff in the new updated engine with updated graphics, and I love the visuals of the new ice staff, and yeah, I can't deny that it's just cool to use it again. However, I wish we had a new wonder weapon, which is pretty reasonable, I think. And about the ice staff, one thing I like about it is that the quest is actually pretty difficult, at least in comparison to something like getting the jet gun on Liberty Falls or getting the beam smasher. I think the ice staff quest is significantly more difficult, and I like that. I like there being more challenge to getting the most powerful weapon. There needs to be more challenge if you want to feel more rewarded for getting the most powerful weapon. And I think it's better if you fail the quest to get the ice staff the first couple times, which is something you're not gonna experience when getting the jet gun or the beam smasher, unless you're just a beginner at the game, I guess, which I'm not. But I failed getting the ice staff the first couple times. You know, I had to learn that you shouldn't stand in the middle of where all the enemies are gonna spawn in the little lockdown part where you follow the orb and it spawns in a bunch of mimics and doppelgas and stuff. But anyway, I'm a fan of the quest for the ice staff. Another big thing that I am a fan of in this map is the boss fight. I wish the boss was not a piece of furniture. I wish it was an actual creature that was a lot cooler looking, and I think it would have made for a more visually appealing boss fight if it was an actual creature rather than an inanimate object that just shoots out lasers in a circle. But in terms of the difficulty factor of the boss fight, I think it plays very well, and the hardest part where you have to kill each enemy that has the red sentinel artifact inside of it, and then you have to focus the sentinel artifact that comes out of it, and you're kind of timed on that part as well. I'm a huge fan of the difficulty factor in that part. Now, you can cheese it. If you have 4 people, you can just have 4 people with idolize and then basically cheese that entire part, which is actually what I recommend you do first time if you're just trying to get it done. However, if you really want to experience the difficulty and how the boss fight actually plays, don't use any idolize at all. Just see if you can do the boss fight, because it is hard. I personally failed this boss fight about 7 times before I finally got it. No joke. And I'm a pretty experienced zombies player. I had a tough time with this one, but when I finally got it, I felt very rewarded. Now I can do it pretty much every time I hop into the tomb, which is a very good feeling, knowing that I put in the work to get good enough to do the boss fight consistently. So yeah, I'm a fan of the difficulty. This boss fight's definitely a lot more difficult than Patient 13 in my opinion, and the Citadel boss fight. While those ones are very cool visually, this one takes the cake for being the most difficult. Another thing I'm a big fan of is just how this map looks visually, mainly the Dark Ether portion of this map. The skybox I think is really cool. It reminds me of Revelations. I've actually seen people saying that Revelations looks way better than this map. I think this map is just as beautiful personally, and just everything else in the Dark Ether too, like the giant spikes that come out of the ground that kind of look like the Origins dig site. I think those are really cool, and when they light up after you've done the Easter egg, I think that's really dope. I love the boss fight arena in this map as well. I think it's really dope. But yeah, I really think they nailed the visuals in this one. I mean, even outside of the Dark Ether, just the vibe of kind of the ancient ruins and the catacombs and whatnot that this map has, I'm a big fan of it. I hope we continue to see maps that are very visually appealing. Like, personally, I think Terminus was a great example of a map that was visually appealing. Citadel, not so much. It was kind of bland looking in my opinion. Terminus is great visually. The Tomb, I think, is great visually, and I hope they keep it up. Another addition in the Tomb that I am a big fan of is the golden armor. I think stuff like this that makes a certain map special is always a plus, because because this is not on any other map except for the tomb. You have to play the tomb, do this very difficult lockdown if you want to get this golden armor, and I think that's awesome. I love when a map has an exclusive thing that is going to incentivize you to play that map in particular, and this is something that the golden armor does very well. Another example of this would be like the God Mask on Revelations. Now that's enough praises for the map. Honestly, I couldn't think of anything else that I think is necessarily a pro for this map, although there are some very good pros that I did name. Now in terms of cons, we've got a decent amount to talk about because this map is not without its flaws, to say the least. First of all, depth perception is a god-awful, useless perk. I mean, you already have the high contrast mode that you can turn on in the settings that does what depth perception does, just 100 times better. And also the augments for depth perception don't do it any favors either. None of them are really useful at all as of today that I'm recording this. None of them have really been discovered to have a great use in high rounds or Easter eggs as of now. Another thing that is a huge issue for me on this map is, first off, the amalgams. I hate amalgams. They may be my least favorite thing about Black Ops 6 in general. I'm not a fan of enemies who can grab you and pull you towards them. And to top it off, they also have mimics on this map, which can also grab you and pull you towards them, and it stuns you as well afterwards. So the fact that you have two enemies on this map that can both be in the map at the same time, mind you, that can grab you and pull you towards them, all the while zombies can hit you while this is happening, that's a very big no for me. I am not a fan of enemies that can grab you and pull you. I think that they should be done away with. There's no reason for them to be in the game, and they completely hurt the flow of the game, in my opinion. They completely hurt the gameplay. This also leads me into my next issue, the high rounds. Not only are you going to have to deal with these motherfuckers that are pulling you back and forth this way, that way the entire time, but the high rounds on the tomb eventually taper into what they are in every single other Black Ops 6 map, and that is just camping and spamming mutant injections. At this point, I don't see it ever changing for any Black Ops 6 map in the future. I think the strat is always just going to boil down to getting the most overpowered weapon, having a few certain augments that you need to do the strat, spam the weapon, and then when you get overwhelmed, hit a mutant injection, make sure that you can just scrounge up enough salvage so you can keep buying mutant injections. Like, when is this gonna change? When is the strat gonna allow you to train? When is the strat gonna allow you to just use the wonder weapon without using mutant injections? Like, when are we gonna have no elite enemies that are bullet sponges that take 100 shots from the wonder weapon to die? There's a lot that needs to be changed in my opinion with high rounds. I wish we could train in this game past round 50 or even past round 40. Why can't we train? That's such a staple of zombies is training, and you can't do it past like round 40 or 50. It's sad. But anyway, another thing about this map, and actually this season in general, that I was very disappointed by was the PPSH. If you guys have watched my other videos, you know that I was very excited for the PPSH to return in this game, but let's face it, it is dog shit. It is completely dog shit. It's not viable in zombies, not for a boss fight, not for high rounds, and it's dog shit in multiplayer as well. And they didn't even give it a 71 round mag. Like, that is criminal, and it's just historically inaccurate. There has never been a gun that has been more accurately described by the term pea shooter. PPSH in this game might as well just stand for poopy pea shooter head ass, bro. That's how terrible it is in this game. Don't use it. I mean, just unlock it. It's free in the battle pass, but don't use it. You're doing yourself and your family a disservice. Another thing about this map that I am not a fan of is the fact that it is pretty small. Compared to a map like Terminus, this map is tiny. Compared to a map like Origins, this map is tiny. Now, they said it was going to be a lot like Liberty Falls, and it's nothing like Liberty Falls, honestly, except for the size. It is a small map. It is a circle, a pretty small circle that you can traverse in about 2 minutes or less, that surrounds a central HUD with fast travels, 4 fast travels that takes you to each side of the circle. Now, the layout is convenient and it makes the Easter egg play better, but it kind of spoils the exploration. You know, there's not much to explore in this map at all. You play it once and you kind of seen everything there is to see in the map. Personally, I hope the next map we get is a lot more expansive and large. I hope we get an original Wonder weapon in the next map as well. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to start posting a lot more. I know I haven't posted in like 2 or 3 weeks. Follow me on TikTok, subscribe, hit that like button. Peace.